Yo, what's the biz, man? It is Sunday. Fresh off the Scott Fish Bowl Podathon. It's me, it's your man Johnny Main. We out here today, man. Not today, Satan is how we should really label this show. Not today, Satan. Because I had my own issues trying to get up and rolling today, man. My USB broke on my wireless cord, man. So just had to rock the pods tonight. But anyway, man, not today, Satan on this Sunday. It's me, it's your man Johnny Main. It's the homie. Mr. Nick Wilcox. And tonight we have got early division winners and we got some fast futures, man. We're 11 weeks away from the NFL season. So obviously you're going to be seeing these two handsome faces a lot more than you've seen them over the last 2 months. So yeah, Nick, happy Sunday, man.
Happy Sunday. It's been happy until the last 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Some wireless, I don't know, connection that's happening. Anyhow, grateful to be here. Grateful to be with you, obviously. Grateful to be doing our show one more time. Yep. So interested to see how we all kind of see this breaking down in terms of, division winners. And then also, like, we got some fast futures and looking to see how this, we're late in June right now. Obviously, things can and will change. So happy to be here.
Oh yeah. Definitely they will change. They definitely will change for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that, man. So we can go ahead, man, and get right into it. Unless like you got something else, man. We talked a little bit like last night, man. Did you finish watching Night of Champions?
No.
No. No.
I was like, you know what? Like, wait, never mind. Just never mind. You know what?
That's you. Yeah, so you didn't watch it. Okay.
No,
All right.
no.
Yeah. No.
Something
No.
else happened, didn't it?
What'd you see? What'd you see before I say anything?
You can just tell me.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, the Sami Zayn thing, like that was really like which I don't know, man. I feel like, Sami Zayn, LA Knight, man, like, now it's just I don't know. I'm interested to see where this whole storyline goes. I told somebody today, I was like, yo, like I think what if they decide to go like Sami Zayn and Trick Williams, obviously from the previous feud, for Trick to get the US championship. Like that would be crazy different for sure. So I don't know, man. It was just it was a wild day, man, like in that space. But yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll get to sharing here. Obviously, first up, man. We'll see how this goes here. Actually, starts with the AFC East. Your AFC East, if you will. Who you got, man? Who you got, and what's going on with it?
I have subject to change, right? It's subject to change.
Yeah.
I mean, look. I mean, I guess it's one of those situations that it should be really cut, dry, and simple. Keyword should. But what I will say is that I'm just gonna go with Buffalo at the moment. Like, I know what you're thinking. It's like, Nick, you always cheer and support the Jets and da 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 da. You're supposed to hate all these teams, and I do. It's more of like I just feel with Buffalo. I know them firing. They're McDermott and everything. Brady there, now the head coach. I don't think things change up too much for Buffalo. You grab DJ Moore mid off season. I still think DJ Moore has a good amount of talent left in the tank. It just becomes a situation where will Buffalo like consistently still keep their ways of being in terms of running the football and Josh Allen, doing his thing, or will like Josh Allen be, now because they brought in DJ Moore and now the expectation of him becoming into the offense, can he actually be the team's number one receiver, bona fide wide receiver one? I think that question remains to be seen. Y'all see how DJ Moore did perform in Chicago, and it's not like DJ Moore has like lost how to play football. I just felt like with Caleb Williams. He did, especially down the stretch of the season. Like he didn't use DJ Moore as much. Um, just per route and run, DJ Moore was just not the best quality receiver. It's just like Roman Doomsday also kind of had his own struggles in the offense, and it was really the burden that really started taking more of that usage away. Obviously, you also had just that offense just kind of humming. So let's just see. I mean, I think DJ Moore is going to bring a nice wrinkle to the Buffalo offense. I'm not going to count New England whatsoever. Obviously, they're the slight value, and if you feel like New England can come out and do some of the same things that they did, minus all of the off-season distraction of Vrabel, and all that circus that came with that, makes a ton of sense if you want to put some money down on New England to finish that division. Like in a world of stupidity, the Jets plus 1100, like I'm not saying put your money on that. So I think that hopefully, I mean, you never know, but I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is it's a 2-team race for a division crown. Buffalo is definitely the safer lock bet, and I would say New England would be the slight nicer. You get a little plus money on that. So that's what I got for notes for you. See, as far as Miami goes, like Miami, we know is going to be, I'm not going to Miami has. Look, Miami's going to have a really hard schedule coming into the year, and with new quarterback Willis, like we'll just have to see how that plays out too. I think from a fantasy perspective, Willis is one of those guys where if you're like desperate for a QB too, like he's someone that could have some nice capable games, but we just don't know how this Miami team is going to really shape out. So I kind of want to wait a little bit longer to give my take on Miami. But I do think this, to put a bow on this, it really comes down to Buffalo or New England.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling the Pats, man. Not even close to being a Pats fan, but I just think, it's hard for me to bet against a team that just came off of playing in the Super Bowl. They just finally added themselves a premier number one wide receiver. Second year offense now with Josh McDaniels and Drake May, and I think if you kind of go back and you look at some of the history that's happened with just with any quarterbacks really with competent offensive coordinators. Typically, the really good quarterbacks take the next step. I was listening to some stuff the other day. There's not anything that really points backwards that says that Drake May is going to go backwards. There was nothing that was holding him up. It wasn't he had, this wide receiver, kind of like Jalen Hurts, with obviously A.J. Brown. And now all of a sudden, that piece is gone. I think the Bills, last year I went on a little bit of a rant about Josh Allen because, again, it's I still think it's a thing where it's he is not the underlying problem. And maybe this coaching change, maybe that sparks everything else and helps the Bills kind of get over this hump. I know a lot of people just in the general population last year were like, okay, well, there's no Lamar, no Mahomes, no Burrow. So there isn't going to ever be a better time. So I like the Patriots. I think obviously the Bills are second. So obviously, it's a two-team race in that division for sure. The other part too is just who they played this year. And this year, the AFC East is cross-matched with the NFC West. So I think looking at some of those matchups and how people fare up against that division, which you can make the argument that the NFC West outside of Arizona, right, might be the most top-heavy division for sure. So yeah, man, I think we got some. What up, Toogie? Yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Pats just in this space, just to be able to get some plus money, man. Plus money for me. Like I said, it's hard for me to look at the defending AFC champs in the division and plus money inside or the AFC in the conference and get plus money inside the division. So I'll take the Patriots, man.
Ugh.
Okay. Yeah, not exactly my favorite for sure. So I think we all know that. All right. So next up, man, we got the AFC North division, man. What's your take on this, man?
Every year, every damn year, every damn year with this division, bro. It's always a three-team race.
It's not going to be any different this year.
It's
It's
not gonna be
literally not.
anything different this year.
It's not going to be anything any different this year. The team that's at plus 2,100 just lost their best player. So
Literally,
like so
literally.
you got that, and then they had some interior linemen leave as well. Obviously, offensive line has always been an issue for them. Like they do have a couple of bright spots, depending on how you want to look at last year and how last year ended with Harold Fannin and Quinshawn Judkins. So, they do have a little bit of life there. You got Deshaun Watson obviously coming back this season. You have a room full of quarterbacks. A lot of people are really buzzing, about what's been happening in training camp with some of these rookies for the Browns. To quote Dan Campbell, I'm not about to get excited about players running around in PJs. Um, just not going to.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like it's like that's the Browns in a nutshell. Like I'm not going to spend
I
a lot of time talking
so
about
for
them guys.
me, so I'll be really, really totally honest. I'm gonna ask you, who do you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know. Like that's the thing is because it's like again, it's a 3-team race. It's
But you
you could
know me.
make.
Who do you think I'm gonna pick?
I don't know,
You
man.
know,
I
you
like.
you you
I
know
would. I
me.
would. I would think you would pick the Baltimore Ravens. Is who I would think you would pick. Um,
But I'm taking the Bengals,
Fair.
which is like this is a little outside my norm. And the only reason why, there's a few reasons. It's like with the Ravens, it's like I've really like we like their makeup, right? We like this team with the Ravens. Not okay. Sorry.
I was about to say. I was going to let you finish and say we we don't like we don't like shit about the
I shouldn't
Ravens.
have said the word "we."
We don't
Sorry,
like the
sorry,
Ravens.
sorry.
Yeah, we don't
I
like the
usually like the
Ravens.
Ravens in some type of format, right? I always say "we" because we like Derrick Henry. Um, but that's why I said that. But I'll say like with Lamar and Derrick Henry, and all the Ravens historically, defensively stuff like that. Like, O line's been decent and usually get better as the season goes along. All that type of stuff. I don't know. It's like it's a little too early for me. If I was gonna take this today, right now, like for me to say that the Ravens are like bona fide should be the favorite of this division. Um, we've been a little bit patient with the Bengals, right? Let's go back to when they, went to a Super Bowl several years back. It's like some of those pieces are still humming. It's just the defense has always been something to really be, weary about. So, Dexter Lawrence, is he a true difference maker for his defense? No, but I will say he helps out. At least with in terms of trying to stop that run and also being a centerpiece in the middle on that defense. Is it enough to say like the Bengals are going to be like division winners? No. However, we all seen Cincinnati's offense. We've seen in the last several years, and if it either weren't for injury or just lack of team play in general, we all would be penciling the Bengals in for in the playoffs and potentially have made some significant noise. Even this past season, I think that would have definitely been the case. It's just, the Bengals at times just get themselves in a hole or something, Joe Burrow's out or, significant injury happens. So the plus 154 is enough for me to potentially bite. If I'm picking today, like, if I'm getting the value out of the Bengals, I'll take them because I do think that their offense and their team in general, they're going to have one of the easier schedules coming into this season. So that being said, that's going to help their chances. So I do think I'll just take the value in the Bengals today because I just don't know what the Ravens like. We have an idea what the Ravens are going to look like, but we need to really find a way to start seeing that after when training camp starts and the preseason games begin to kind of get a little taste of what the new coaching staff's going to look like in Baltimore.
Yeah, well, you talked about Cincinnati's schedule, being one of the easier ones, and um, the Steelers are matched up, or the AFC North is matched up with the NFC East. obviously they're matched up with. So there's definitely, it's not a cakewalk for sure for those guys. And when I look at Cincinnati's schedule, right, and obviously like a lot of the AFC North teams are going to have very similar schedules in
Yep.
terms of like divisions, and then like I believe it actually goes division ranking. So wherever you rank that in the division is what you face the next season versed off the rank. Right. So I mean, you looking at this, like we talked about the NFC East, but like the Bengals, they still have the Texans on the schedule. They have the Jags on the schedule. The Ravens, Dolphins, that's an easy dub. Titans, we don't really, we have a feeling like they should be better, but like probably, not going to be threatening in the division. The Falcons and the Saints and the Chiefs. So it's not like looking at the schedules and like doing this and like thinking about like what the exercise was and like the matchups and things. It's not as straightforward as you think it is, man. Going through a lot of this, like there's definitely like a ton of parity in the league for sure. So and you talking about Cincinnati, if this didn't happen, hey man, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, is what my coach used to say. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, that's just what it is. Is they haven't got the job done. Um, I do agree with you about their offense. It's hard to knock that offense and find anything say bad about them, right? Like I think like we all know that. And the Baltimore Ravens, obviously things are a little bit different in Pittsburgh with no Mike Tomlin. But like Lamar Jackson has had a losing record against the Pittsburgh Steelers his entire career in the NFL. So like that's not something that really brings a lot of fear to Steeler fans. And of course, like if I'm being completely non-biased, I truly feel like that the Steelers offensively and defensively, I do feel like they're going to be better on the field. I don't believe that they actually have better leadership, if you will, from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy. But I believe like from a football standpoint, from like an X's and O's standpoint, I do believe that the Steelers they're going to be better on the field than they have been, man. But I don't know about like adversity for these guys. I don't know about big games because that typically hasn't been Mike McCarthy's thing. Has been that, but Mike McCarthy has always gotten top tier offense, and then Graham defensively has already said in training camp that they're going to do a lot of things different. It's going to be very different. It's not going to be as vanilla as it was. T.J. Watts even came out and talked about him moving around early on, like on defense. So again, like the Steelers, man, like some of the moves that they made, during the offseason, I truly feel like in the secondary, this is one of the best defenses. We do got to get Joey Porter Jr. locked up soon, so that's not a big deal. But like you look around, man, like the Steelers might have the best linebacking core in the NFL from inside to out. Not saying that like as a fan. I'm just calling that as it is. You got Alex Highsmith, you got T.J. Watt, you got Nick Herbig, you got Sawyer, you got Patrick Queen, you got Peyton Wilson. They're very, very deep at the linebacker position. And that's something that, like, obviously you're going to have playing against the Baltimore Ravens specifically. And then for the moves that they made in the secondary, that obviously addresses or, aligns with, since the Cincinnati Bengals potent offense. So I'm going to take the plus 510. Not just because I'm a diehard fan, but I truly believe that this is a good value here. And we know it's going to be a dogfight. And there's the coaching changes in Baltimore, the coaching changes in Cleveland, right? Cincinnati's the only place that didn't have any coaching changes as far as like, head men. So if it's not Pittsburgh, then I'm going to go with Baltimore because Baltimore, I'm intrigued by.
Just no love for Cincy, man, huh?
I just don't. I don't think.
Terrible.
I don't think, man, that they can. I don't think that. I don't think they can hold up, man. I truly don't think they can hold up.
Okay.
I don't like. Again, offensively, they are who they are. They've always been who they are. Like can't disrespect that offense, but you can't tell me that just by bringing in Dexter Lawrence, and I know they made a couple of other moves. I think they actually grabbed somebody from Pittsburgh as well, a secondary guy. But like, I just don't believe that defensively, like that's what it is. So I'll take the Steelers, and then if I'm taking a step out of that space, I would take the Baltimore Ravens because I do think that I think this whole Ravens team is going to be like just completely interesting with this youth movement that they've got with
Oh, so
Mentor. It's going to be completely different. And like Lamar Jackson, man, like it's getting, Josh Allen gets a lot of scrutiny. He gets a lot of scrutiny for not getting it done.
yep.
Lamar Jackson's floating in that same zip code, man.
He is in that same zip code right now.
He's floating in that
He
same
is.
zip code.
He
So
is. He's like the light version right now, though. He's not.
yeah, he's
He's
floating
not
in that
getting.
same zip
He's getting
code.
more of a
So
pass right now, and that's where not right now for me. So
so like
he's not getting it.
so I think like right, like you go down through things and you look at things, just from this perspective, right? If you talk about like what coaches, what quarterback have the pedigree, obviously, man, like it's there in Pittsburgh. So again, it's
There we
hey
go.
man, it's simply facts. It's simply
There we
facts,
go.
man. Simply facts.
There we
So
go.
all right.
Make your case. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm just out here spitting facts, man. Word to McLovin. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Make sure
AFC
DK
South.
Metcalf catch the ball.
Hey, listen. Second year with Aaron Rodgers, man. There's a lot to be excited about, man, in Pittsburgh for sure. So a lot to be excited about. We got the AFC South up. Man. Talk about it.
I'll let you take this one.
I mean, I felt like I just took the North, but like the South. Um, for me, man, this is probably the best division in the AFC. Like in my opinion, I think it's the best division in the AFC from top to bottom. You look at Jacksonville last year. Jacksonville's a team that I really, really feel really good about. Like this year, just overall, I think obviously second year in the offense with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, they lost Travis Etienne, but Michelle Tootin, I think, man, he slides into that role real nice. So not really concerned about that. The Jags got a plethora of weapons for Trevor Lawrence. So again, like not worried about that. Defensively, they can get after it with the best of the best. I think when you look at it, for me in this division, I think they're the most balanced team in the division, offensively and defensively. The Texans, we all know what it is for those guys defensively. Like that is the stamp and that is the standard in the NFL for being the best defense in the league. They got David Montgomery during this offseason. So I think like them having a true run game now and not having to worry about Woody Marks getting hurt 15 times a game definitely will help out for sure. Yeah, so it's I mean, like we all know what it is, and then the Colts, man, like we don't know. We assume Daniel Jones will be back, right? Early on, he was playing really good football for the Colts last year when the season ended for him abruptly with his injury. Obviously, Michael Pittman. I am probably going to be in the fantasy purgatory for what I'm going to say next, and that's okay.
Boy.
Like I can deal with it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I can totally deal with it for sure. But like Alec Pierce, man, I don't know about that. Like,
no, you're not.
yeah, the fantasy community is very 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 up on Alec Pierce, and I'm not sure like how or why.
That's all he really is.
Yeah, so like I'm not like
at all.
Nah,
people are steaming up Alec Pierce.
Listen, I like you. That won't be. And obviously, this big money that they paid him. Thank you to the Indianapolis Colts for giving away Michael Pittman for a cheese sandwich to the Steelers. We really appreciate that. So yeah, so like I don't like. So the Colts, I think they were playing over their head like quite a bit last year. Obviously, at the end of the year too, they made the move for Sauce Gardner, or Ahmad Gardner, as I'll call him, because he didn't do anything that was really saucy. Until he does, he'll be Ahmad. And then the Titans, like they're not going to have a say in the division, but they can play spoiler. So I think like we're back to the same conversation like we've been having, where it's a two team race in the division, and I really think Trevor Lawrence taking the next step with Liam Cohen in this offense and being in the second year with this offense. I feel so good about him and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and to get them at plus 245, man, I think is a steal for the division win, man.
That's what I was Yeah. I mean, I really do like the Texans, obviously, but I do think that they really showed like how offensive inept they were last year. Um, so that's also concerning. But I agree with you with the Jags. The value there, like, is easy.
Yeah,
um, and just because of how Liam Cohen has been, he's been pretty consistent. And now, in second year now in this offense with Trevor Lawrence and how Trevor Lawrence was really starting to come around and starting to look like how people saw him a couple of years ago. And again, now, like you just talked about, offense, like, really got a ton of offensive weapons and that defense that really started taking form the back half of last year. So I think they can continue that momentum too, and I do like them as well. So that's
dig
value for
that,
sure. That's
dig
value
that,
for
dig
sure.
that. All right, last up, man. We got the AFC West, which I think is probably going to be just as tough as the AFC South and the AFC North.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh, what's your take on this, man?
I would say this. It's the Raiders is no, I'm kidding.
Boy, boy, boy.
Oh
Which
man.
actually, I'm gonna stop. I'm actually
No.
gonna stop you right there. And I'm just, I.
Okay.
There's one thing I am gonna say.
Okay.
This, and actually, it reminds me of like last year or maybe even the year before that a little bit. And I can't, I can't get past this in my mind. So you're telling me, not you, but just in general, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, probably what first, second round picks, probably first 15 to 20 players off the board.
Yeah.
Like, and the Raiders offensively being able to do that. It reminds me of what happened with the Jets a few years ago with Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. And like where you find yourself in a situation in the draft that like things might not go the way that you want them to go. And now all of a sudden you're looking and like you might have to take two Raiders to start your draft. Right. And I just like that's kind of puzzling to me. I don't know who is the weakest link out of those two, which I think is a great conversation topic for some time going down the
I
road.
mean, that's easy. I think right now that I bring easily that conversation right now is Jesse. Easily. Um,
Fair, fair, fair,
Easily right now.
fair, fair.
Because we've seen Brock Bowers play at a high level. We've seen Genty, but he really hasn't shown us much of a ceiling, like a solid ceiling. I mean, he's popped up, right? But he hasn't shown a consistent ceiling, in my opinion. So
Yeah, no,
there's
no.
that. So I do think that with Bowers, if you're picking between two of them in general, it would be Bowers. Um, when it comes down to it for this AFC West, yeah, I mean, to me, it's a little tough. Obviously, I think for me, when I'm looking at these divisions, it was the hardest one to predict, and it just comes down to I have respect for three of the four teams again, right? Chiefs, Chargers, and the overall Broncos, and the Broncos are just so balanced, right? They have a team that is like uniformed from top to bottom on both sides of the football, pretty balanced. Um, there's not really like I don't want to say there's like a weakness on this roster. There is in a way, but at times their weaknesses do not show. At times. So my whole thing with Denver is that they're going to be in the mix, and there's that. The Chargers. Um, it feels like the Chargers over the last couple of years in particular, it's either they've always been hit by the injury bug, or it's like even with Herbert and stuff like that, like just can't keep him upright for a full season, or offensive line problems, whatever. Or again, on the defensive side, just Bosa, who will always be hurt and is no longer on that team. So it's just injury bugs after injury bug with the Chargers. And even with Hampton last year, it's like he got hurt down the stretch last year. So remains to be seen if you can't predict health, whatever. We all know the Chargers have talent there. I do worry though that the Chargers team is just going to be one of those teams that like gets down to the end of it, like it gets down to the stretch of the end of the season, and they're going to be one of those teams that just like doesn't make it over the hump once again. So for me, it really comes down to Denver and it comes down to Kansas City. Kansas City, right? ton of respect for obviously the nucleus of this team. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the big question mark, right? Because we all know what happened to him. So remains to be seen what he's going to look like coming in. They say he's somewhat ahead of schedule and whatnot. So does ahead of schedule mean he's going to be ready for week one? It still remains to be seen. But Andy Reid seems like he's pretty confident he is. So we'll obviously keep tabs on that. Travis Kelce, you brought in Kenneth Walker for free agency. And then we see how the Rashee Rice deal, right? Situation. Who knows how this is still gonna pan out as for right now? Like things seem to be, on the up, but anything can happen as we've seen the Rashee Rice situation the last couple of years. So, remains to be seen. Today, I'll take Denver. We just have to kind of see. It's like, obviously, if you think the dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs is dead, then okay. I still think there's some life to it. It may look a little different, but there's still some life to it. But we'll see what happens. I take Denver today, and that's obviously a safer bet, obviously. But you're hoping that either value, with this type of stuff, you're looking for something where it's like, all right, like if there's some caution into the wind that Mahomes is not ready for week one or whatever, then if you think Kansas City can find a way to do it without him, maybe all of a sudden like that value starts sharpening, get real down before the season. So it's just something we got to keep tabs on. So unfortunately, I'll just be going with the boring pick, and that's Denver.
Yeah, I'll go with you too, like with the boring pick, because like Denver, like that was going to be my pick as well. I just like again, like they were one of the best teams in football all year long, and like for everything that I said about the Patriots and being in the Super Bowl, et cetera, given their circumstances, obviously, man, Bo Nix don't get hurt. Like Denver's probably playing in the Super Bowl. Like they're probably playing in the Super Bowl.
He got hurt like the second to last play, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. So like they are there. I truly believe that. And so like I think obviously like we talked like nothing, like literally nothing changed on the offensive line for the Denver Broncos. Nothing. Like they were one of the best offensive lines in football last year. We know obviously like it's a really tough place to play. We know obviously they brought in Jalen Waddle as well. So like, yeah, so I'm back with them. I will say this about the Chargers. The Chargers are probably they are like, it wouldn't take a lot to convince me for the Chargers to win the division. Like I could just as easily take the Chargers as I did the Broncos. It's not that I feel like that the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty is dead.
So let's talk about that, because I was kind of back and forth on that when my initial analysis like came out with this, because I'm like, the Chargers, like for me, are like they are at times defensively. They really put it together. There were just times where your zone coverages, you played against the Chargers and you weren't getting anything. My whole thing with this Charger, like, it's close, but it's not like so close for me to be saying what you just said about the Chargers versus the Broncos. And it's just because Denver's offensive line is like top 5 still. You know what I'm saying? And with the Chargers offensive line, it's just, they've just either been middle of the pack or sometimes they slip. And that is sometimes the difference in games. Because again, Herbert, we all know he's tenacious, but also he's gotten beat up too.
Yeah, but you lost both tackles. Like you lost both tackles before the season even started if you're the Chargers.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's something that like I think like a lot of people like they're not baking into the equation is like, okay, like now you give Justin Herbert his 2 tackles, like you give him Omarion Hampton like for like the entire year, because I believe Omarion Hampton got hurt in like week 4.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert was still able to will this team to the playoffs, and at points had them looking like one of the best team in the NFL. There were spurts where they looked like that. And Justin Herbert, he like, hey man, like they were hot last year. There were points in times like every team, right? Like obviously we know like the Super Bowl, like whoever wins it, right? But there were points in times in the year where like, the Lions, I mean, not the Lions, but the Rams look like the best team in the NFL. The Seahawks look like the best team. The Texans look like the best team. The Patriots look like the best team. The Broncos, the Chargers, right? Like all of these teams, like they all at some point looked like the best team in the NFL. And Justin Herbert, like last year, I'm pretty sure under duress last year, he was actually like the best quarterback in the league. Like under duress, he was also like the quarterback that was under duress the most in the league last year. So like I think
Yeah.
those are things, right? That like if they're able to get like 43% is what he was pressured, and he had 1,192 yards. That was the fourth most in the league. And Drake May was actually tied for the most touchdowns with 10. So like him and May both, like however like you view that, like both of those
He was
guys,
a little
like you would think,
skipper last year, you know?
yeah, like both of them were right. And so obviously, you bring in Mike now, like with this offense, like it's gonna look a lot different, man, for sure. But like I'm still gonna take the Broncos, and the only reason why like I'm really taking the Broncos is just because defensively, like it's if that's the if that's the separator, Denver definitely has the better defense. But like if we go back, man, and even if we look at this again and like do the same exercise again at the end of August, I'm very liable to change my mind and go with the Chargers. And the other element too that could really be the separator that like we've kind of talked about, but like we haven't like really hit on and dove into. Both of these teams last year, right? Like they both took rookie running backs. RJ Harvey and Omarion Hampton. And RJ Harvey last year, like, we were expecting a lot more from him, and it didn't.
Some
It
people
did.
did.
Yeah, but like we expected him to catch the ball. Like we expected him to catch the ball, and like that's like to transition from like the actual division winners to like fantasy stuff. Like I know everybody is so like hot and bothered about Jalen Waddle. I know, I get it, man. But like that's I get it. But like Sean Payton has got like he's got these tendencies, man, to freeze guys out, man. Like to freeze guys out that like we've all been like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And like Cortland Sutton still plays football for the Denver Broncos, man. So like he still plays football for them. So anyways, yeah, dude, like I said, it'll be the Broncos for me, and the Chargers are a super close second, man.
Makes sense. What about Chiefs?
Um,
Mention anything about Chiefs?
So a couple things with the Chiefs, man. From a big picture perspective, I think that like Patrick Mahomes, obviously we know what it is, and if there's anybody that is capable of overcoming this type of injury, it is Patrick Mahomes. He's our generation's Tom Brady. Like I hate to compare it like in that space, but that's just the reality of the situation. He's this generation's Tom Brady, and obviously like they brought in Ken Walker, and a lot of people are like really excited about Ken Walker. I think it's no different than like what it was when he was with Seattle. I think it's still the same old song and dance like with him. If he's able to stay healthy, you get production. Like health has been an issue for him, like, this entire time. I don't know who it was, but we don't know what Rashee Rice is going to do on a Tuesday night at TGI Fridays. Who knows? Travis Kelce just got married, to like the biggest pop star, in the entire universe, not named Drake. So like, there's just a lot of moving pieces, I think, like for the Chiefs offensively. For sure. They did do a good job, like defensively, getting some pieces back. I will say that. So I think it'll look a little bit different. I also heard people talking
coming back home.
Yeah, coming back home, which is definitely after he got a big payday, man, to go down to Cashville, which apparently that's where free agents go to die and veterans go to die, career wise. But yeah, like I think it'll look a little bit different for sure for the Chiefs. But I just think this is one of those situations where, you look in the two teams ahead of you, man, or the two teams in that division, the Chargers and the Broncos. Yeah. It's not a runaway anymore, man. It's not a runaway anymore in any respect. But Patrick Mahomes at the back end of the year, man, if fluky stuff happens, like to the Chargers, like it has, like the Chargers have lost their last 4 wild card games. I was looking at, there's only 2 teams that actually have longer losing streaks in the playoffs. My Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins. Like that's the last thing you want is to give Patrick Mahomes a chance coming down the stretch to be back involved. And I don't know if it's just me or what, but it feels like the Bo Nix and Sean Payton relationship is very, very rocky. Is what, and like this is obviously clearly I'm not in the freaking Denver Broncos locker room, but just like the back and forth about like the ankle procedure and when he's available and when he's not, and like when he's going to play, like those things, that's just kind of an interesting thing to me as well. But yeah, I think you think the Chiefs get into the playoffs. Obviously June 27th or June
Yeah, yeah.
28th, 28th. Yeah,
I think they do because I'm not gonna like disrespect them like that. I think last year, like obviously, like they definitely like didn't come to play on certain opponents and certain times of the game. So I feel like I could somewhat made. So I'm not gonna say that they're gonna miss the playoffs now. I think they're if they don't win the division, they will be one of those wild card spots. Well, it just depends on again like the nucleus of how this looks like because again, in my opinion, I think that's what should be happening. But you should be preparing for Mahomes to not be 100% week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then after those 4 weeks, like obviously check in, see how things go. And then from there, like how all systems go after that. I still think the Chiefs, like from a wins perspective, like still get double digit wins.
yeah,
But
wouldn't put it
that's
past
just
them.
me being optimistic. But I'm not. That's me being optimistic, and that's what me thinking that Andy Reid's going to come up with some type of game plan because you brought in Kenneth Walker for a reason. There should be some type of featured plan with him overall. But also with the injuries that caught up to him, they want to just may still want to kind of ease him his workload, ease him into work for the season. So it will remain to be seen how things go. I'm still on the brighter side of this right now, but obviously things I'm just it's my opinions are subject to change.
NFC East. What you got, man?
Well, do we? I guess the real question is, I think this is to me it's still a team race with a potential for a third. Um, it just kind of comes down to who's playing well. It sort of just comes down to that. Money wise, I'm taking the Eagles. Obviously, they're the favorite. Um, Dallas would have some window of opportunity. Um, and Washington for me, Washington is like that. Washington is like that. Washington is like that you miss but don't miss. Let's just say that.
Fair.
We love James, right? We want him to succeed. um, I think he's definitely one of these next quarterbacks that you talk about next couple of years that like is going to be one of the guys that's being that leadership like perspective of like, oh my God, James Daniels, can't miss him. Da, da, da. I just need him to stay healthy. And that's my whole thing with that scenario. With Cliff obviously getting clipped. This offense, like we'll just kind of see how things shake out. We all, McLaurin, these guys. So, it just remains to be seen how will shake out for Washington. But they're on the outs, obviously, for me. So it comes out of Dallas or Philly right now. And then speaking of the Giants, like I don't know what to expect from Harbaugh and these Giants when there was already like the political, drama that was going on between him and, and all that, and just that fiasco is like not a good start, like to get your, rally around your people, and you're already causing division, and the season's long from even starting yet. So him and Carter are gonna have to make some things up. Now they gotta play catch a little bit in my eyes, from a chemistry standpoint. Do the Giants have some things that are impressive? Sure. We'll see how Cam Scatterbo is. Like, the concussion stuff is just never good to hear this early in a career at running back. Never good to hear. And then obviously Malik Neighbors, right? Neighbors. Like, we expect a bounce back from Malik Neighbors, right? So it would just remain to be seen what the Giants will overall do in the end. I don't think the Giants will be like in any type of like hunt per se. If the NFC as a whole starts like that, like looking like the NFC, because there's some potential for that in terms of probability of how, like, divisions and matchups and all that. But I don't know if Jackson Dart's ready to take that next leap yet. But it could prove me wrong. So I guess it comes down to Dallas or Philly for me. I think with AJ Brown leaving town to New England, I think that really opens up more opportunity for Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith. Anytime like one of him, or Dallas Goedert or AJ Brown was missing, it seemed like those guys, picked up the slack a bit usage wise, and was performing. So I'm curious, definitely from a fantasy perspective, where the community starts viewing Devontae Smith and where they end up on him. I haven't done a best ball draft yet, so I look forward to getting into that, and that's where I kind of will start forming more of an opinion. Because not realistically, I think Devontae Smith is going to be one of those guys that we have an idea of where he could be placed in terms of like from a really nice higher floor, but can he provide the higher ceilings week in and week out? Remains to be seen, and then also the rest of this offense, how Philly, typically likes to do things. Like, are they going to be more conservative, or will they start opening things up more? Kid Lemon they drafted, like obviously Dallas Goedert, like, is in the mix too, and he's been consistent. Like, of course, Barkley, expecting the bounce back from him, of course. So it remains to be seen. I do think Philly. I can't get off Philly until I don't think I can ever get off Philly. Because with Dallas, in my opinion, it's like Dallas is always the prove it you gotta show me team, man. Like, I do like defensively where they kind of are, Quinn Williams in the middle, but I just secondary wise for Dallas, I don't know. It just seems like they haven't really like been bouncing back secondary wise, in my opinion. And then Dak Prescott, right? Dakota Prescott.
Dakota Rain Prescott.
Thank you. It's like there's times I respect Prescott's game, right? And then there's times where it's not always his fault, but the situation points to you because you're the quarterback. So, to be fair, to not be fair. But anyhow, I think Javonte Williams, if he comes out and proves it again, like, all right, I'll definitely shut the hell up about him being not a feature back or whatever. We all knew it was capable. I just hate that he rehabbed his value in Dallas. But I'm going Philly until, like, unless it's like, again, like, what's Philly? Obviously, Philly is a city I have high expectations all the time, right? But they have the nucleus to withstand a loss like A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown mentally seemed like he wasn't really into it like that anyway, due to all the beef that was happening, dramatics and all that by the stage and whatever, and that's just kind of how sometimes these things happen at the pro level. But I think if anyone's going to withstand a loss like A.J. Brown, it's Philly because of schematically how they match up and how they would want to do things. I do expect more of them to run the football a little bit more. But I do think that there's times where I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to prove that he can air raid the ball out too. So it reminds me of like a situation where the Eagles were playing the Broncos last year, and it was just like both of those teams were like, playing really conservatively, and then just Denver just ended up getting them in the end. Philly can't do that again. They can't when they get into situations where they play teams that are somewhat talent-wise, somewhat better, or very equal footing to them. It's like Philly's gonna have to find ways to get creative and do things differently. So I think that's like the litmus test for me for Philly. It's like anytime, and I'm sure we'll talk about that with a couple other teams in the NFC as well. But it's like usually when and sometimes you can't gauge this before the season. Sometimes it has to be something that you have to watch with your own eyes against that formidable opponent. So, anyhow, taking Philly, and I just don't particularly like the value in Dallas right now, but it remains to be seen.
Mm. Plus 235 for Dallas is what it
Yeah,
is.
I really, realistically, in my head, they should be in the 300s. Realistically,
Well, I don't know, man. I think that this division, I think like Washington and New York, both of those teams, I think they're going to be better than what people think. For sure. I definitely
yeah,
think that. I think the Harbaugh effect is definitely going to be real for the Giants, for sure.
yeah,
Commanders, I think it's not even fair to really judge them on anything that happened last year because Jaden Daniels basically, if memory serves me correct, maybe he played 4 games last year, four
yeah. It
complete
was,
games. Like
yeah,
it's so like where were they at before Jaden Daniels playing 4 games? They were picking number 2 to take Jaden Daniels is how bad they were. So I think like that's like that's that in a nutshell. And then obviously you had McLaurin in the whole contract situation as well, which any type of holdout or hold in situation is never really good. So the
nope.
Dallas Cowboys and their holdout or potential
It's the
holdout franchise
Cowgirls.
players,
Forgot to say that the Cowgirls.
their potential holdout, situation with George Pickens uh, didn't go sideways. It didn't go sideways. Which again is a really good indication of how things are to come going down the stretch. And like I do think that Dallas, I'm going to take Dallas. I'm going to take them. Um, I do just think that like
I'm listening.
you don't just lose a guy offensively like AJ Brown and just like continue to keep rolling and like not miss a beat.
Really?
Uh, like you don't like let's be fair, right? Like let's really be fair. Like you don't you that just doesn't happen. Like you're not like okay, like let not like spitefully, but like hey, like our number one wide receiver is not with us any longer, right? He's not with us. So like, hey, our offense is going to continue to keep it rolling the way that like we have kept it rolling. And if I like Dak Prescott now, like second year with Schottenheimer, right? And remember, man, CeeDee Lamb missed a nice chunk of time too last year. He missed a nice chunk of time. So like he didn't have
Sure did.
he didn't have both of his weapons on the outside. And like, for everything that like you say about Cincinnati, Dallas is the same thing. They're the same exact thing. It's the same thing. The same thing. The only difference, right, is that Joe Burrow has played in a Super Bowl. That's the only difference if we look at it. Cincinnati offensively, like they're potent. They've always been potent. Dallas, for whatever we want to say about them, as long as Dak Prescott's been on the field, they have been potent. I think like the one element, and I said this last year, and this was my concern last year with Dallas, was the run game.
Run game.
And Dak Prescott's numbers running play action they're through the roof. Like he's like literally like the best quarterback in the NFL when play action is going on, right? And so like that was my biggest concern was like, okay, well, like if Javante, and again, this was last year, if Javante was gonna be a thing, like that would obviously help Dallas, right? And like now, like we know, like it was a thing. Javante was a thing. And so Dallas, I'm pretty sure, like I seen something where they had ran like on their passing plays, like 79% of them were play action passes. So I think that like they've got something there in that space, like with play action. They've got something there with Javante because we all remember Javante coming out of college, man, and being with the Denver Broncos the first couple of years, man. He was incredibly explosive, and he was on his way to being one of the best running backs in the league. Um, so like I have a feeling about like the Cowboys this year, man. Like we talked about like how things match up as far as like ranking like them and who they play based off of their ranking in the other divisions. And this year, I think the the NFC East this year they play the AFC North.
Right.
So there will definitely be a couple of games that have shootout written all over them. Obviously, Dallas and Cincy, get your DFS lineups ready for that game because that's going to be nuclear.
Everybody
Uh,
gonna be on the chart.
right. Like that's going to be nuclear. And like Dallas, like they were aware of like what their problems were. Their problems were all defensively. They addressed it in the draft. They addressed it last year before the season ended with trades. They addressed it during free agency. And again, like they don't have to be the best defense in the league. They just have to be just a tad bit better. So yeah, so like I like Dallas in this situation, man, for sure. I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not on it, but I just think like Philly loses their wide receiver. We've seen Saquon Barkley like take a step back, performance wise and production wise last year. Dallas Goddard, he's a little bit older in the tooth now. I think he's maybe has 1 or 2 more years now left on his contract. We've seen like some issues like on the defensive side of the ball with them last year as far as Philly
So you
goes.
think the decline's here, you're saying, for Philly?
It feels like everything that's going on. It feels like it. It feels like it. So we'll see. Like we'll see, right? But I just think like right now, there's more positive things going on in Dallas than there are going on in Philadelphia for
Okay.
my money right now.
Okay.
And then like the Giants, like I was talking to a guy at work about this. I said, if you told me that the Giants ended up being in a place where um, where they have an opportunity to win this division, I wouldn't bat an eye. Like I wouldn't bat an eye. I would not bat an eye because I don't think we know how good this Giants offense actually can be because we haven't seen them with their best player. Granted, they lost Wandale Robinson to Tennessee during the offseason, but like you mentioned, Malik Neighbors wasn't there. Likely now comes in to play tight end for the Giants. The Giants initially were trying to build this thing defensively, is what they were trying to do. They were trying to build it through their defense. So they still have some really nice pieces on the defensive side of the ball, right? And it really, if you kind of look at it and think about it, right, like, which defensive personnel would you rather have? Like right now, would you rather have the Giants defensive personnel, the Commanders defensive personnel, Dallas's? I think we would probably say Philly would probably be the personnel that we would all choose, right? But like, New York, I really don't feel like they're as far away
Now
as
they're
like what
shaped.
people. Yeah, like
They're
they're not as
shaped
far away.
defensively last year. I can understand what you're saying.
They're not as far away as like what people think. So I think this division is definitely. I don't think it's as cut and dry as it has been, where it's just like Philly and everybody else. I think this division is going to be a real dogfight this year, man. So all right, we got the one of my other like this. The NFC is low key
It's
stacked though, man.
stacked. It's
Low key
stacked,
stacked.
yo.
Low
It's
key
stacked,
stacked.
yo.
Uh,
It's definitely
uh,
stacked, yo.
NFC North, man. What you got?
Yeah, I got Detroit. I think Detroit.
Ooh,
I think Detroit is.
ooh,
I think Detroit's ready for a bounce back. Um,
ooh.
I just think that with. I mean, Detroit. We'll have to see what's going on with the Trevor Honor stuff, but
Yeah, no, that's
like,
crazy work.
I don't know. But I think so. Based on metrics from last year's records and stuff like that, Detroit has one of the easiest schedules coming into this year. Um, and I do think that with Detroit, it's something where with Jared Goff, you got Gibbs, you got plethora of weapons, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got my boy J-Bo out there, um, they put in work. But I think with Detroit, I think what comes down to it for me is really just like, um, you got a lot of things working for you. Dan Campbell, Detroit has what it takes to really be, back on top once more. So as much as I could say Chicago, as much as you could say potentially Green Bay, but Green Bay, I guess Green Bay's dealt with some things and obviously who knows what, you know, uh, who knows what that's going to look like defensively for them because losing
Parsons.
one of the best perennial defensive pieces in Micah Parsons, who knows when he's coming back for sure. And you all know what it was one of those things where it's like you saw like Green Bay is capable of having a good defense, but it just really fell apart once he got hurt. They were just giving up
Yeah.
constant bleeding points. Um, I'm not going to rule him out because Jordan Love was someone that, he's definitely someone who plays with a lot of, you know, clutch gene mentality. So I'm not going to rule that out for Green Bay. I do think they'll be in a fight for the wild card later in the year. Um, And then this way, like I said, this like we just talked about NFC stack, bro. Like
Yeah.
besides like this NFC South, in my opinion, in a way, like which was
Shit, they even stack too. If you really want to get
you
dirty,
could play,
if you want to get,
you could just put a freaking, you could stab my eye a little bit
I,
instead of watching NFC
I
South
listen. I
sometimes.
can make a case for you right now with the NFC South about them being just as talented as every other division in the NFC right now. If you really if you think about this, like,
Well,
well, we'll get to the South and I'll make my
we
case
will,
about that. Yeah, I'll make
yeah.
my case on that.
Please do.
Oh, I will.
But
I will.
hey yo.
They like
um,
it's dirty down there.
I think that Detroit is ready for the overall to come to take back their crown. Much like Chicago, as well, because I do think they have a really good setup there as well. Um, it will just come down to whose defenses will get a little bit better throughout the season potentially. And I don't really know the question I answered, but I'm just going to take Detroit for the time being. Again, being subject to change. I know who you got.
Yeah.
But I guess I had a question, off topic question. Kyler Murray in Minnesota. Thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I was gonna talk about that. Like
Woohoo! Perfect.
that's the thing is like these like I think Green Bay probably has the best defense in the division. Uh, Chicago is not very good defensively. For as much as I love Caleb Williams and as much as I love what they got going on, like defensively, like they were gutted defensively. They were gutted defensively during the offseason. Uh, the Detroit Lions, like their offensive line does not look the same. It does not look the same. Right. So like you got that. And then like there were times defensively where they left a lot to be desired on the defensive side of the ball. So like you mentioned Green Bay. So like Green Bay, like, yeah, like they lost Micah Parsons, like to injury last year, but he'll be back. But like Minnesota's a team that, like, if you look, like defensively, like they might actually have the best defense in that division, possibly. I think like from the things that like we're nobody is talking. I hate their running game. By the way, I hate
In
Aaron
Minnesota?
Jones, not
Yeah, yeah.
not as a person, but just as a player because he's
Sure.
165 years old. And but like Jawan Jennings this offseason, TJ Hawkinson, a couple years removed from the big injury,
Yep.
Jordan Addison, no suspension this year, Justin Jefferson, like they they may be the best team in that division. Like if we all know what the if is, it's the quarterback situation. So whether it's
Ooh, boy.
so whether it's
Hottest take of the night goes to
it
Johnny
listen, it
A.
is. It is. It is. It is. It is. And
I see your logic. I see your
I
logic.
love Caleb Williams.
I see your
Like
logic.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
He's like the son you don't have right now.
Literally. Literally. Literally.
You know
The
what I mean,
man can
Caleb?
do no wrong. The man can do no wrong.
If Johnny,
Right?
if Johnny has a kid and he finally gets his boy, it's gonna be named Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be Caleb. That's what it's gonna be.
What a K or
Uh
a C?
with a C. Just like the real Iceman. Just like the real Iceman. But yeah, I think like for me, it's that. And then like the Packers, for like the other thing like with them to say is like Jordan Love was hurt like a lot of the year last year. He was banged up a lot last year. A lot. So I think like if we really like look at it, like the two teams to me that like have the biggest upside is Green Bay and Minnesota. For as much as I love Caleb Williams, and I love him again, but like I just think that like it's gonna be a lot on his shoulders to, for him to have to go out and score 30 points a game. And I think like we all know like he's up for the challenge for it for sure. But just defensively, like a lot was lost in the offseason. So if I have to pick today, man, I'll probably take the Packers just because I feel like that's the safest move right now in the division. And then it very well could be Kyler Murray and those guys. As much as I love the Iceman, I don't know if he's going to win a division this year. So,
Oh, well,
yeah.
yeah, it's really up for grabs at this point.
All right. So the NFC South, you're like, all right, like, well, everywhere but there, man. Like, you look at this division.
You know how many times we went to the NFC South games last year and we were like, yo, just like, can we just move on? Just put it there. Put it
The
there.
Carolina Panthers, I'll start there. You know, and I know, we all know, they had the
Oh
Rams
boy,
on the
yo. Oh my
ropes.
goodness, yo.
They
Here
had
we
them
go.
on the ropes. Hey man, I'm only spitting facts. I'm not being, listen, I'm not reaching. I'm just simply stating facts. I'm simply stating facts. They had the Rams on the ropes in the playoffs. Things look a little bit different for them this year for sure. But defensively, like that they are a pretty good football team. And
Yeah.
FAF, if you want to, down in the South, and you'll find out. Um, and then the Falcons, like, obviously we know what the situation is with them. Like, is it going to be Michael Penix or is it going to be Tua? Right? Like, who is it going to be? But then you look at them offensively, their skilled players on offense are just as good, just as great as anybody in the NFL. So, like, that's not a place where you want to be at on Sunday. Is you don't want to be at the
Including your boy
Mercedes
Kyle
Dome.
Pitts.
You don't want to be at the Mercedes Dome having to play against Bijan, Pitts, and London. Like, you don't want that. And all defensively, by the way, like, James Pierce is a raging psychopath. I think, like, we all know that he's a raging psychopath. Like, but that man can get after the quarterback like nobody's business, bro. He can, and that,
Oh
like,
man.
so, like, there's that. And the Saints, Tyler Shuck, bro. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. He was literally the best quarterback in the NFL last year on intermediate passing, which is like really like a critical component to the game because, you're not throwing the ball 40 yards or 30 yards down the field every single play. Tyler Shuck, I'm here for it. And then for them to load him up with Tyson and obviously still got Olave and, Travis Etienne, your boy Jawan Johnson. Like, the Saints ain't no slouch, bro. Like that. There's no gimmies here, and we know what Baker Mayfield on his best day is. Like, we know what it is. Like, this is not like some kind of like ragtag division. Like, it might not be as high profile as some of the other divisions we've talked about, but like by the time the season ends, there's a very good possibility that like the NFC South could be just as high profile of a division as some of these other divisions have been that we've talked about in the NFC. So it's not sexy for sure, but like, you could definitely make a case like offensively for the Buccaneers, the Saints, and the Falcons. Um, there's definitely some firepower to be had there, man, in that division. So, as far as like who I would take, man, like, this is the hardest division. This is the hardest
Uh-huh.
division. Like, if
I was
you're like,
waiting for
okay,
that.
like if you're like I got a clear path to this one. No, like, this is the
No, you
hardest.
don't. Not at
This is
all.
this is
No,
the hardest one to take because
no.
again, like, we look, the division winner, the Carolina Panthers, are plus 310 with the third highest odds. To win here. So, um, I think for me, like right now, I want to pick the Saints is what I really want to do. I really want to pick the Saints. I'm gonna take the Saints. I'm just
Okay.
gonna take the Saints. I'm gonna take the
Okay.
Saints. I'm gonna go in on the Tyler Shuck deal. Second year, obviously with Kellen Moore, uh, beefed up a little bit more on offense. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that because Michael Penix and Tua, we already know what it is with them. Tampa Bay, man, like, defensively, like, we don't know what it's going to be. Baker Mayfield in his contract situation, like, does that
Oh
continue
yeah.
to linger over? And the Carolina Panthers are just a team like you don't want to play because if you play bad against them, they will beat you. They will beat you if you play bad. So, I'll take the Saints, man. I'll get in on a little Tyler
Wow.
Shuck action.
What's the odds on him again? Saints?
Plus 265.
Really?
Yeah, everybody's plus in the AFC. I mean NFC North. Everybody's plus here. I'll switch it over here. I got off of it because I figured people would at least want to kind of see us versus looking
That's
at the
fair.
screen all night.
It's true.
Um,
You don't want to look at it all night, but
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, look. I mean, honestly, like what we talked about, like it's Yeah, the NFC South to me has always just been a headache. The last couple of seasons, um, it's just more the same. Feels like it's like all these teams have. I don't want to say they have warts, but it's more like it's not clear cut. It's not like where it's like you got two teams at least. No, it's always all these teams have a chance. Because look at how this season ended last year. Like literally, like
Yeah.
Carolina hosting a damn playoff.
I
Like,
mean,
dude, we
like
gotta
it.
change that damn rule, bro.
I mean, listen, I think like Carolina, like they earned their keep, man. Like
They did, yeah.
it wasn't a blowout. Like it wasn't
No,
that they were bad. Like they earned their keep there. It's not what everybody wanted, but like they were a solid football team. Um, coming down the stretch, and like again, like we talked about, the Rams. Like if anybody, we talk to anybody, or we ask anybody outside of Seahawk fans who's the best team in the NFL, and it probably would have been the Rams. Um, so
yeah, that's fair. My pick is Atlanta, and it's really because of I think they're the best. It's them and Carolina that come close defensively. I just think that Atlanta, if they're gonna take this step forward, obviously we'll figure out who's playing quarterback. Um, if Tua's playing quarterback, that should be interesting. There's hope. There's hope. There's hope. Um, that Penix plays, but with Atlanta, I just think I just like the better setup for them right now. I just think with Carolina, like just Bryce Young, man, like he just there's times where we saw glimpses of him last year, but it was like, man, dog, like there were just times I was just like, dude, like people would throw your money at him or whatever, and it's like the dude just freaking throws for 100 yards.
yeah, like they
Like
like
it
they
was
didn't
like,
they did they didn't throw the ball
oh,
they didn't throw the ball a lot. They didn't throw the ball a lot for sure. But like
yeah,
one of the spaces that like he was still really really good in, man. Uh, as far as quarterbacks goes, was he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league with adjusted completion percentage. It's not
yeah,
sexy. It's not like he's
sure,
not gonna show he's not gonna go shoulder the game and win it for you. But like if he needs to make a throw, he can make a throw. It's just not sexy.
sure ain't.
No,
But yeah, no style points there. But I
no.
get it. I think Atlanta though, because I think I just like Bijan Robinson, man. Like, oh man, can't get enough of him. We're still waiting on Drake London to really like have that like explosion. Like, so maybe see that like we'll have that happen. But I do think like defensively as well, Atlanta's good. There were just times where Atlanta like Penix looked good, but then there were other times where just I still feel like Atlanta's still missing like another like playmaker in this offense. Like, so that's something also like we gotta keep like tabs on. But I'll for for my liking of just I think Atlanta is just gonna find a way to really keep things afloat balance wise. But this division is wide open.
Yep, it is. It is. All right. And we got last but certainly not least,
Oh,
what was last year the
yep,
best division in football, the NFC West.
yeah,
Uh,
yep.
so we got the Rams at 100 plus 100, Seahawks plus 205, 49ers at plus 305, and the Cardinals at plus 10 bands.
Dude, I mean, we already know it's gonna come down to three teams, right?
Dude.
Um, something catastrophic. Anyway, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Seahawks, Niners, and the Rams, right? Um, my analysis initially brought me, um, to San Fran, and I like the value on them still, um, just because the nucleus of how San Francisco is really matches up with the other two teams here. And it feels like sometimes it's more of a toss up. So from a value perspective, San Francisco. And that's really easy, by the way. I know there's no George Kittle, right, for a while. You might not see him until November, like late November, potentially, maybe early December. But I still like San Fran as like a nucleus play. If you're looking for like value hunting, San Francisco is definitely the play. The pick 'em on is the Rams. And that's pretty obvious. You know, they are even money. You know, so you're not gonna get anything. But I mean, obviously, like, I mean, look, you just traded and acquired the guy that led the just broke the sack record last year on a trash team. So now you plug him on a team that potentially has the pieces to go to a Super Bowl, and now you have that makeup go. Puka Nakua remains to be seen. I know he's in the rehab, stuff like that, whatever. So that the good news is it's not an injury, right? It's just a mental thing now. So I mean, look, Puka Nakua should be ready to go week one. Like I'm not really sweating that. I think Stafford, like another year, could bring more injury prone to the back, but for now, I'm not concerned. I think the offensive line for the Rams, I think it's the best. I really think it's one, if not the best, like in the division here. So I know Rams pretty boring, plus 100. You're not getting much there. Obviously, you're just getting even money. But that's the safe play. If you value hunting, it's going to San Francisco. Talking about Seattle and talking about Arizona. Seattle, like, I'm not going to rule them out. They're defending Super Bowl champs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to throw the disrespect at them. I'm just really curious, as to how, really just curious how this team shapes out and folds out. Can Darnold prove to us once again? I mean, I'm not saying that he can't, but he already did that. He already proved that he belongs. It's just more of can Seattle get to a point where they're going to win the division here again and be a team that is, still in the real top tier of this conference. That's my real question for them. But yeah, look, I got the Rams and I have the value play for San Fran.
Yeah, no, it's not overkill for me, man. Like it's the Rams. Like I think, like even though the Seahawks won a chip last year, like the Rams are the best team in that division. I think obviously, like you bring in, Miles Garrett, like it does nothing but make that team even that much better.
Deadlier.
Like McVay's like already proven that like he can get the job done with less, and like he's continuing to get more each off season. I think like that Rams front office like just continues to push the needle in terms of like acquisitions and players that they can bring in or that they do bring in. So yeah, so like I'm not overthinking it. Hey, what? Definitely not overthinking that. I do think San Francisco is a really good value. I think like if you wanted to make the argument for San Francisco, you can make the argument that obviously they were injuries got them really bad last year. But hey man, it's a part of the game, right? So yeah, I'll take the Rams for sure, all day in this space. So um, all right, we've been cooking here, man. Like we're getting close up against it. Um, let's see here. We'll get to the fast futures, man. We'll save the touchdowns for like next week or something. We got the
Okay.
yardage ones here. We'll
Okay.
save the
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
touchdowns.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see here. So we got fast futures here. This was like one like we just kind of happened to stumble across. Um, so fast futures here. So that's most passing touchdowns. So this is the most passing yards after 3 weeks.
Yep.
Um, so I've got 5 players that like I am looking at here. Like I just kind of like broke it down to 5 players here.
Okay.
Like I mean, you could take a look and see like anybody stands out to you. But like I broke it down to 5 players. Got Dak Prescott,
Right.
Justin Herbert, Drake May, Lamar Jackson, and ironically enough, as we talked about earlier, the Minnesota quarterbacks, whoever that is, whoever is named the starter, right? Um, Dak, Dak, the first 3 weeks, Dak has got the Giants, the
Yep.
Commanders, and the Ravens.
Yeah. He's the one with the lowest like odds, so to speak, quote unquote, it's still plus 750. Like
Yeah.
so,
So
it's still a
right.
nice bet there.
So now Justin Herbert he's got Arizona, Vegas, and Buffalo.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah. Now Drake May, I put him on here because I knew like people would probably be like, oh, well, what about Drake May? What about Drake May?
yeah, right.
Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville. That's not an easy road. That is not an easy
No,
road.
no, it's not.
Lam- Lamar Jackson has Indy, New Orleans, and Dallas.
Oof. Well then,
Yeah. And in Minnesota, they've got Green Bay, Chicago, Tampa Bay. So I think like Herbert really, really stands out pretty nice.
yeah,
For me, it's really for me, it's between him and Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is actually a pretty good value here at plus 3,000. So I think like, if you're going for value here based off the first three games of the year for passing yards, I know it's like, well, Lamar, that's not really like his game, but like it's a new offense, right? And I think Derrick Henry traditionally doesn't get rolling. He had a big game against Buffalo week 1 last year, so of course, yeah, people will be like, oh, well, that's not true. But typically, Derrick Henry doesn't get rolling until the end of the year, or once it starts to get cold. But I like Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert, and like the worst bottom five defenses as far as passing yards last year were Dallas, Indy, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. So Lamar Jackson has two of the five worst passing defenses to start the season off, and then he plays against New Orleans, who plays at this like insane tempo. So
right.
I think I'm gonna take Lamar Jackson. Uh, like I think that's what I'm gonna take for like overall, and it's good money, and it's close second would be Justin Herbert for me, followed by Dak.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
Uh,
mind. I don't mind that at all. In terms of the what is it? The overall like standpoint of what you said kind of last goes into my point of who I like. So the overall list of guys I really had here, my longer shot is James Daniels. Um,
yeah,
just because like the odds there is like I know Jaden Davis definitely scrambles a bit more, just like similar to Lamar. Um, but it's just one of those plays where it's a more of a dark horse play. People are going to be on um, in this market, and Washington's going to have to find ways to score points in these dreaded matchups. So it might just have to be through the air with Jaden Daniels. I believe they got Seattle. I think Washington opens up the season. I believe it's. Uh, I think they opened up against Dallas. Hold on. I got to see on my end.
no, they got Washington's got Dallas the second game.
Second game. Yep. Um, yeah, first game of the season.
Dallas, and I
They
think
played. Yeah. So
yeah,
well, Eagles, Dallas, Seattle. Luckily, Seattle they have their they have that third game. That's their first home game. So um, so there's that. But I like Jaden Daniels because I feel like he's underrated when it comes to just like passing yards in general because people define him as a scrambling quarterback, and if they have to find ways to be playing against division opponents, they know him pretty well at times too. But also there's times where Daniels has some familiarity against these teams already. So that's like the longer dark horse play I got on this market. The other ones that make more sense to me um, in this when we talk about my favorite overall is Jared Goff. I think when it comes down to it, we just talked about it, the Saints played at a pretty high pace last year, and Kellen Moore always tends to have his offenses like already in that category anyway. If people remember, that's why I got to my conclusion on like Jawan Johnson last year was because like everything fitted well that offense, everything, and turns out that prediction came to light. So I'm going with that with Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff can have 400 yards passing against the Saints potentially um, in this matchup. And then they have the Bills and the Jets. So The Bills could be a potential spot where depending on game flow. Um, I mean, we all like we've said this before. Josh Allen will need people. We'll need a team to you know like you know speed him up, make him score points, stuff like that. So with Jared Goff, sneakily at plus 1,200, right? I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just a spot for me. I just like, and then the Jets, like we have no idea. They could they could pummel them, whatever, or not, or whatever. But I do think in this market, where the first look at the first 3 weeks, I think Jared Goff is definitely one of those plays like no one will definitely like take a stab at, but I'm willing to do so. The other guy I definitely liked was like kind of right in the middle, in a way, not from a uh, value perspective, but just more like a name perspective, and that's Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy has everything we look for when it comes to a guy that wants to lead this overall market. Brock Purdy is definitely one of those passing quarterbacks that really doesn't tend to let us down too much from a passing yards perspective. And going back to what I betted, whenever I took some bets on him, it was also like his lines were always just too low. So I do like Brock Purdy in this spot, and the reason I do is because again, we talked about Mike Evans last week, and I do think that that gives him even more of a nicer line to potentially produce. I know George Kittle again is not here, but it's more about the weapons that San Francisco at their disposal will have and how they utilize that offense. So I think Brock Purdy is more of the contrarian play in this list. But there's definitely plenty of like these guys you could definitely take. Obviously, like Josh Allen would be someone that if he finds a hot streak within the first 2 weeks of the season, or just comes out really hot throwing the football, like that's something potentially there. I ultimately rule against that in my own top three going against this, but for me, that like the overall play I'm gonna say that I would take a stab at most is golf. Then it goes Purdy, and then the longer shot is Jaden Daniels.
Dig it. Dig it. All right. Then we got rushing leaders too, which this is always like it's always interesting like
We said
what shakes
touchdowns
out.
next week, right?
We'll do because like otherwise, man,
Yeah, we'll be on
we'll
here
we'll be
all
here
night.
too. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Uh yeah. So then we have rushing yards. We're not gonna do the touchdowns this week. We'll get to rushing yards. Jesus.
Yep.
They got everybody and their mom on here.
Yep.
All right,
Jump
here we
right in
go.
on this list.
All right. So yes, we got rushing yards. So like for me, man, like the it's hard. It's this one is probably tougher, like
It
for me,
is.
because like
It is.
this is definitely a lot tougher.
It is.
Um, I think for me, when I look at this list of guys here, because like I just really just went in on like like the touchdowns here because I thought like we'd be able to kind of like link both of these up. So like I'm gonna be going straight off the cuff here.
Cool. I like
Um,
it. Off
yeah,
the
yeah,
cuff, baby.
no, yeah, no, I hate it. I
Right
hate
up
it.
the hip.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it.
Um, 1,000% hate it. Um, I think. Let me see. I gotta go get a
Definitely
look through
curious
here.
who you're gonna say now.
Yeah, like no, because I don't know, man. I mean, James Cook is somebody that like I'm pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I rock with him like for sure. Like I rock with James Cook
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then like after like that, man, like the rest of these are all. Chase Brown is a good candidate, man. He's a good candidate.
He sure is.
He's a good candidate.
He sure is.
He's a good candidate because we know like he can get gone in a minute, man. He can get gone in a minute. So I like that. I like that. And then like I, maybe this is crazy, man, but Bayshell Tootin too, man. Like I'm looking at guys that like have like the explosiveness and can
Wow.
get gone and
Wow.
can get gone. Bro, he can get gone. He can and remember,
He
man,
sure can.
he can get gone. He can get gone. He can. He can get gone, man. Genty in Hampton, all right. Yeah, he's there for that. All right. Maybe. Uh Yeah, I like that. And then because like some of these other guys, man, like I mean, obviously you have to throw Gibbs into the mix. Obviously, like there's no doubt about that. You know, like you can't not have him there. So I think like if I look at it, like if I was just going to be reasonable off the cuff, I'd go Gibbs, Cook, and then I think like my long shot would be Chase Brown
What's Chase Brown's odds?
plus 5,000.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, he's way
Yeah,
down there.
yeah, plus 5,000.
He's way down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like the rest of these cats, like you know,
Way down
like we know what it
there.
is, like with the rest of these cats, right?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
who are your three?
My long shot, which is like I don't I understand why it's the same thing you talk about with kind of Chase Brown. That's Chris McCaffrey. Like I know it's like he's
Really?
more of that receiving back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, like how plus 5,000 for a guy
Whew,
McCaffrey? Like first few
man,
weeks, like
I felt
that's
did
when
you
he's the most springiest.
man, what, I felt like there was like something crazy. Keep going. I think there was something crazy I had on him,
um,
like his rushing stats, but
Yeah, look, I probably understand. You know what I'm saying? His yards per carry wasn't anything sexy last year. It was definitely like, he was still more electric receiving the football. But it's more like even in this market where it's like, again, like I'm getting odds like that, it's like putting a little bit of something on that for plus 5,000, like it just makes it doesn't. I don't understand like why someone wouldn't do that.
fair.
For a guy like McCaffrey, like it
Yeah.
may not be. If anything, like it may get close. You never know. But off the cuff with for me, like in a way, like I saw McCaffrey there, and I was like, that makes no sense. I know again, receiving makes a ton of sense. The guy I really had like he was like the guy that I don't. It's a contrarian play, but it's something where I'm like, well, if everything goes well for the team that we think is going to go well for, like, how do you think they're going to, uh, keep things stabilized? And this just goes to my theory about how this team may start out the season. That's the Rams. I'm talking about Kyron Williams plus 2,500. You're getting a guy like Kyron Williams who, you know, I know we've heard and talked about Blake Corum a bit, stuff like that, and how they somewhat still share workload and stuff. But I think Kyron is one of those running backs that's still low key, still gonna get 20 something touches a game, and still have an opportunity to get you over something or 100 something yards rushing. And that's just where like it makes too much sense to not at least like put a little something on that.
Whew.
You know,
I gotta throw this out there for you, brother, because I thought like Christian McCaffrey, like he actually had like 4 or 500 yard games, like rushing games last year. Kyron
yeah,
Williams
yeah,
had one. Kyron had one 100 yard game last year.
that's fine. That's fine. It's more about just like for me, like game theory wise, like I expect that number to hit a few more this upcoming season, and if it does happen early on, great. If not, then whatever. I just think he's like more like my medium-ish play, but the play that I'm gonna go with, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, you know who it is, right?
Taking this man, I can tell you right now, there's going to be so many memes that are going to be posted this year of the Ferrari sitting in front of the track house, and that's what your man is going to be. Like that's what he's gonna
Ferrari
be.
in the
Like
fucking
man,
trap.
this is exactly why we ain't doing touchdowns tonight because I can go on and on and on. But I like man, there ain't no way they about to get ready to suit this. You draft that man this year, brother. You in week 15 and 16 and 17, that man is not gonna be playing
Oh, it was
because
Bijan
they.
Robinson, but not
Oh, I
18.
thought you were about to say 18. I was about to say that man, he ain't playing in week 15, 16, and 17. He ain't
Hey,
playing.
look,
They about to get ready to be
there's still a
tanking.
big chance that I still draft Achan anyway.
They
So,
gonna be they gonna be
but
tanking.
Bijan is definitely the guy. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
it's I know again like it's running backs are a bit more tougher because sometimes you expect a certain way of volume and a certain way of play, and all of a sudden it doesn't shake. It's all more all purpose versus like okay great
Yeah.
thank you for not winning my bet. But Bijan Robinson, I think the odds should be a lot more closer, and I think it might get there. Um, as we stabilize the QB position. But I think 1,500 for Bijan right now
That's
doesn't make
pretty
any
solid.
sense.
That's pretty
Doesn't make any
solid.
sense. That number should be at least where James Cook is.
Yeah,
1,100, and I'm getting 400 plus more. Yeah, I'll take Bijan. We all
that's
know
fair.
he's a world class talent. And we all know he's one breakaway from doing that. I was definitely tempted to go HN, but this is not the market for him.
No, no.
And especially how it's the again Malik Willis is gonna be like a guy who is gonna take away some running portion away from HN in general. So, but yeah, look, that's just kind of where I stood in this market.
Fair, fair. All right. Most receiving yards after 3 weeks.
Yep, here we go.
All right.
Here we
All right.
go.
So
Uh,
what you got?
so there were a couple here that I liked. Um, I think in particular to give a bit of context, um, it was something where I kind of took the theory of, if you're gonna give me like really decent odds on a player who the the just in general his whole season didn't go well, whatever. This is a dark horse throw type of thing. Um, if you're giving me odds on a guy like who people just didn't like, oh sorry, scratch what I just said. The play that I think is really deeper, um, it's like really deep. Like I'll get my really deep play, and then my deep play, my mid play, and then my actual play. My really deep play is Wandale Robinson.
Mm,
Oh, that's it. That's all I get.
uh, I mean, I mean,
I expected more from you. Damn. Oh well.
well, I expected more from you, and you gave me Wandell Robinson, so I guess we're even.
Damn. Well then.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
All right. Well, moving on.
yeah, yeah. Jeez, though.
Wow. He's a plus 10,000 play.
Sure, sure,
Oh man.
sure, sure,
You give me yeah.
sure.
I can't
I
with you,
mean,
dog.
shit, plus 10,000, dude. I'd take Christian Watson and Michael Wilson over him, man. If we were just going plus 10,000, shit.
Oh man, yeah, I can't. Okay, I guess not. But with
Yeah,
Wandale
that's fair. Go
Robinson, it's
ahead.
like
Who's
we all
your?
know exactly what the schematic is going to be used for
No,
Wandale, but
no,
but we
we
all know
don't.
what type of merchant receiver he is, and he definitely after 3 weeks it'd be a little bit tougher. But would it be crazy?
No, it's not crazy.
Uh,
I'm not saying it's like a. I'm not saying it's the worst pick. Like it's definitely in the realm of possibility. I just would not have.
my my deeper play, it's your boy Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, you back, huh? You back. All right. I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. And plus 5,500 or 5,000. Okay. Yeah.
Um. So I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, look, the odds to me, like screamed. But he's in a. We talked about it earlier with Jacksonville. He's in an offense that's going to be, um, formidable throwing the football. And I do think there's definitely some type of bounce back here, and could it happen earlier on in the year potentially, but potentially not, right? Um, there's my mid play, and then I'll give you guys a lock, or a play I really really like. The next one, Chris Olave,
Okay.
and we all know the way he was utilized in this Saints offense, and the way he just was just getting big play after big play after big play. Um, it just made that the value on him is just definitely value. Um, so I definitely like him in that perspective. I think my favorite play on this, excuse me, I think my favorite play on this list, like it was a bit close, but my favorite play is a toss up and somewhat of a tie. um, but I gave the edge to CD Lamb, but it's someone that like the odds were the same. So Puka Nakua, CD Lamb is like the same thing. Um, but honestly, like there's a lot of different receivers I like in this tier.
I know. Yeah,
So it's
you
like
gave us six of them.
yeah, it's like this market for me was definitely like I couldn't really come down to like a conclusion of like who I liked. Just pick some receivers you like, and let's just see if they go off.
Love it. Love
Rapid
it.
fire, baby. Whoever you
Love it.
want.
Love it. Oh man. All right. So like for me, like up top, um,
It's like
there's
we're
a
picking
couple of
DFS lineups already.
feels like it. Feels like it. No doubt. Two guys I like up top. I like Jefferson up top because obviously, like talked about, like the Minnesota situation with the quarterback.
Yeah, you're
If it's
hoping for Jefferson to make a bounce back.
if it's Kyler, then like I'll feel pretty good about making that. The one that like I do actually like I like a lot is Amon Ra. I think that's a really
Yep,
solid play
yep,
for yardage
yep.
because a lot of these other guys, like when you look
Pretty much
at them,
whatever you say, I'm in agreement with.
yeah, well, okay, uh, yeah, Amon Ra, like I like him in that space, and then I got Zay Flowers. I think like he could be a guy that could
That's
also pop
underrated
it.
for sure. Yep.
Yeah, at
You
plus
hate Zay
four.
Flowers.
I
I'm a
hate
little
him.
surprised you said that.
I absolutely hate him. I absolutely hate him. There is absolutely no doubt about it. I hate him, but I am absolutely able to put my
There we
feelings to the
go.
side here if he's going to make me some money. And then like you talked about, like down here, like in this plus 10,000, I already said it, man. Like, but like Michael Wilson,
Yeah.
um, like I feel like that's a pretty good value, for sure. But it's going to be this one is going to be it's crazy, but it's fun though, right? Like it's definitely like a
Yeah.
fun exercise for sure. Just to get a feel to be like, all right, like, well, like, hey, who would you go with in that space? So
Who
I
does
think like
Vegas like and don't
yeah,
like?
yeah. So like I said, like I think for me, like if I look at it, it's definitely Amon Ra, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, and then getting down to Michael Wilson in that space. But and I think like a lot of that for
Not
me is
Calvin
just like
Ridley.
I could see how I could see how no, he's playing the Wandale Robinson role this year. Uh
I know.
I could I could see how like we get to this place because it's just like there's a lot of talent out there for sure, and there's a lot of things that can go sideways. And through the first 3 weeks, it's always crazy to see who's leading the league in what areas. So next week, man, like we'll rip into some touchdowns next week as far as like
Yep.
who will be leading the league and that's really crazy. Like when you get to like thinking about like rushing touchdowns, like specifically, like that's a really crazy one. Receiving touchdowns obviously is its own entity, and so is passing touchdowns. So we'll hit on that a little bit next week for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much, man. That's it for us, man. Like I got to get ready to go into the trap tomorrow. It's already trending past my bedtime already, so it's already trending past my bedtime. Uh, but yeah, but no, like it was definitely cool, man, to get back on here and rip through some division stuff. Obviously, at some point here we'll get through some best ball stuff. I think also too, like another quick shout out, man. I think last night or tonight is the last night for like 20% off Scott Fishbowl stuff, I believe. So if you're watching and you ain't got Scott Fishbowl merch, go ahead and make sure, man, you do that.
Make that happen.
Yeah, Scott Fishbowl merch's drafts are popping off for sure. For sure. Um, yeah, man, that's all I got, brother. That's all I got. So we'll be back next Sunday, same time. Actually, not the same time. We'll be back on time at 8 o'clock because we won't have all of these. Not today, Satan.
Literally.
Next, not today, Satan. Next week. So, all right, man. Well, listen. Appreciate everybody tuning in. For those that were able to hop on, Tip, man, we seen you. Haywood, we seen you for sure. Johnny Main for the homie Nick Wilcox.